All right, what's going on, you guys? Nick here with Nick's Strength and Power, and we've got a couple interesting bodybuilding updates for you guys today. So we're 6 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia, actually just under 6 weeks out from the Mr. Olympia 2019, and the latest update that we have is now from Roelly Winklaar. This video taken at 6 weeks out from the 2019 Mr. Olympia in front of the magic mirror over there in Kuwait. Now, to be honest with you guys, in the absence of Big Ramy, really the biggest freak in the Olympia lineup this year is going to be Roelly Winklaar. And Roelly is probably the most fun guy to see and talk about and speculate when he posts these physique updates this close to the Olympia, because nobody else is really as freaky as Roelly is. I mean, we generally know, what these other guys are going to look like. Roelly is a guy that he just never disappoints when he posts these, progress pictures, because he's a freak and that's his calling card, and they always do it like that over there in Kuwait. They find the best lighting, the best angle. They have someone else take the video from the perfect angle in front of that perfect mirror over there in Kuwait. And Roelly Winklaar, and back when Big Ramy was competing, they did the same thing with Ramy, and that's why I say in the absence of Ramy, Roelly is the most exciting to get updates from, because he is one of those guys that when you see an Instagram video, an Instagram picture, you see him in the gym, he's one of those guys that on Instagram, on social media, he looks like there's no way he could lose the Olympia. He looks like the biggest threat going into the Olympia when you see him on social media. But it's when you get him on stage next to these other guys that the weaknesses might come out. And you've really got to ask yourself this year, yes, Roelly looks freaky. He always looks freaky. He is going to be probably the biggest freak on stage. But you've got to consider the fact that last year they went with Rhoden over Phil Heath. Phil Heath being a pretty freaky bodybuilder in terms of his upper body. You could say he's pretty similar to Roelly Winklaar from the front. So I think you do have to ask yourselves when talking about Roelly Winklaar, what direction are they going to be going with the judging this year? Would they prefer a physique like Brandon Curry that's much more streamlined, much more aesthetic, probably a little bit more complete than Roelly from the back? And would they pick a physique like that over like a monstrous, massive physique like Roelly Winklaar? And it is worth considering they did pick Brandon's physique over both Roelly's and William Bonac's at the Arnold Classic. William Bonac is a guy very, very densely muscled. Some might say he looks a bit blocky. He's probably got as much muscle packed onto his frame as he possibly can have, compared to Brandon Curry. Probably doesn't have as much muscle packed onto his frame as possible, but he does look very aesthetic and very streamlined, and his conditioning was fantastic, and they picked that physique in the comparison over William Bonac. Now, the other thing to consider here is generally, almost every single year, I would say, Roelly has these freaky updates. And typically what it comes down to is right before he gets on stage, what he does leading up to the show, that final week, that peak week, because typically the problem that Roelly has is conditioning or his midsection, and that's something that we don't really see him struggling with in these updates at 6 weeks out or 8 weeks out or even 4 weeks out. So while, yeah, he does look freaky at this point, the question is, what's he going to do during peak week, during the carb up phase? Is he going to screw up at the last minute, and look watery or look bloated? Could he eat too much when carbing up for the stage? Is typically something that Roelly struggles with more so than the weeks leading up to the actual show. So I think it's just something to consider here. Now, the next story that I wanted to talk about here is we briefly touched on this yesterday, the fact that Phil Heath was looking pretty insane at 6 weeks out. He's been posting a lot of updates lately in the gym. Now today, we have a new update. So Phil Heath posted on his Instagram page, where he reposted actually, a picture that someone had taken of him in the gym doing cardio. And that person basically said they caught Phil Heath prepping for the Olympia. And Phil Heath probably sarcastically says, "Yeah, you got me." Now, interestingly enough, yesterday, after I made my video, someone posted my video on their story and tagged Phil Heath, and Phil Heath reposted that, and he put a caption on that one as well and said "shush," and the title of my video was Phil Heath 6 weeks out. Now, I don't know if Phil intentionally knew he was reposting my video, but anyway, I thought it was cool. So yet again, we find ourselves facing the question, are we going to see Phil Heath at the 2019 Mr. Olympia? We have the fact that he looks very, very good. He looks to be in shape at 6 weeks out from the Olympia. He doesn't look bloated. He doesn't look fat. Now we have the fact that he's doing cardio, which if you were in the off season, probably not a whole lot of reason to be doing cardio. And then we also have the fact that he's reposting these people that are suggesting that he's competing and kind of dropping hints that he might be, whether or not he's being sarcastic or whether or not he's just trying to, create some hype for himself. That's besides the point. I think he's kind of taking a page out of the Kai Greene book here and just leaving people guessing, because that seems to be a pretty good marketing strategy for Kai Greene. And you also have to consider the fact that Phil Heath did just start up his own supplement company, a new supplement company, Not Gifted Nutrition. So in my mind, there's one of two possibilities, considering the fact that Phil did just start up this supplement company. He could be dropping all these hints to get people like me, to get other people talking about him and whether or not he's going to do the Olympia, drop some hype, some publicity, and then parlay that into exposure for his new supplement company. Or Phil Heath is being serious. He does compete at the Olympia, which if he did, he's probably going to win the Olympia. And winning the Olympia for the 8th time would draw a tremendous amount of publicity for his new supplement company. So either way, I think it's kind of actually seeming relatively likely that we could see Phil at the Olympia. Now, there is the fact that we had Phil talking about there would be an asterisk next to the winner of this show if Phil weren't there, if Sean weren't there, Big Rami's not there, because the Olympia was wide open. Now, even if Phil did say that, there's also the fact that the winner gets almost $500,000. So for Phil to jump in at the last minute, even if there were an asterisk, which I don't think there will be if Phil won, that's a $500,000 asterisk. So I just think it's something to consider here, that even though Sean's not there and Phil probably wants to come back and beat the guy that beat him, being Sean Rhoden, you got to consider the fact that there's a huge monetary incentive, both directly and indirectly, for Phil to compete. Directly being the prize money, and indirectly being the exposure for his new supplement company. Now, in addition to that, I do think there's something to be said for people cheering for the underdog. I think a lot of people in the past didn't like Phil because he kept winning, and they wanted to see someone different win. And, different people had different opinions of Phil Heath, obviously. But now that the Olympia is wide open, some might say kind of boring this year. Phil lost last year, so he's the underdog trying to regain his title. I think a lot of people's attitudes about Phil might change if Phil was a surprise entry in the 2019 Mr. Olympia. I think a lot of people that didn't like Phil, if he showed up on that stage at prejudging, a lot of people would be hyped that wouldn't normally be hyped to see Phil Heath. So that's something to consider as well. It might be a really good thing for his public persona. All right, now the next story that I have for you guys today, I wanted to update you guys on the Sean Rhoden petition to allow Sean to compete at the Olympia. So this petition has now reached 14,326 signatures at the time of recording this video. Now, the idea of this petition is that Sean is innocent until proven guilty and should be allowed to compete at the Olympia until there's actually a decision made in this case, which I do think is a fair way to look at it. Sean Rhoden is not guilty of any crime as of right now. So if you want to see Sean compete at the Olympia this year, in 2019, there will be a link in the description box below where you can sign this petition. I don't know how many signatures it's going to take to actually get the attention of AMI, but hopefully their attention is caught by this. Maybe they change their mind, and maybe there's a possibility we could see Sean and Phil battle it out again this year. So go sign the petition. Now, finally here, I wanted to show you guys all of the official qualified competitor lists for all of the men's divisions at the 2019 Mr. Olympia. I already showed you guys the men's open bodybuilding qualified competitors listed in my video yesterday. So I want to give you guys 212 classic physique and men's physique in this video. I'm not going to read every single name on all these lists, especially not men's physique and classic physique because they're so long. But I will go through 212 here because I did go through men's open bodybuilding. So qualified for the 212 Olympia, and this is for the people that are listening to the audio and not looking at the picture of the list here. You have Noel Adame, Mahmoud Al-Dura, Sami Al-Hadid, Ahmad Ashkanani, Kokeni Bella, Steve Bentham, Hadi Chappan, who we mentioned yesterday is qualified in both the 212 Olympia and the men's open Mr. Olympia. You have Eduardo Correa de Silva. You have Lloyd Dollar. You have Kamal El Gargni, Angel Calderon Frias, Fahad Zaid Hazizi, David Henry, John Jewett, Ole Krivyi, James Flex Lewis, obviously, who's not competing, Derek Lunsford, who in my opinion is probably going to be the favorite to win this year, assuming that we don't see Hadi Japan. You have Aaron Polides, Adolphus Quita, Jose Raymond, who obviously is not competing, Tomas Tabasiar, Zane Watson, and Hidetada Yamagishi. Okay, now here is the list for the Classic Physique Olympia. As you can see, there is a shitload of guys competing. The main guys I think we should be looking at here, I'm not going to read all these names, but you got Chris Bumstead, you've got Breon Ainsley, Danny Hester, I think Keon Pearson, George Peterson, Panex Pierre, Danny Unin is a very good Classic Physique guy. Steve Lorius, who I believe is not competing at this year's Olympia. But yeah, very long list in Classic Physique. In fact, Classic is the longest of all the men's divisions. If you look at the men's physique list here, not as long as Classic. It's probably about half as long as the Classic Physique Olympia. All right, so that wraps it up for the video today, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. As always, make sure you subscribe to this channel to keep up to date with all the Olympia coverage and updates. I will be posting many, many videos between now and the Olympia, so make sure you subscribe and hit that bell notification so you don't miss a single one. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And as always, Nick Strength and Power signing out.